What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 211 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
It's still the Anthem. Throw all your friends up.
I love it. I love it so much. And once again, you can find her repping What's Good Games on Twitter at Andrea Renee, the busiest lady in the biz, Andrea Renee.
What's good, Tim?
That felt like it did deserve a little
Oh, thank you.
That was a really good intro. Yeah,
Thank you,
usually you
gentlemen.
half-ass it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find him streaming twitch.tv/FM3_.
With that underscore.
Oh, the chop.
When
Okay.
Greg is verified
Oh, fuck you.
on Instagram.
Oh, man, that's a low
I
blow,
will
you
be-
son of a bitch.
I want the same thing for both of us.
The
yes.
best hair in the biz, Fran Mirabella. How you do? I asked you how often
What's
you
up, best
stream so
friends?
I could put it in there. What's your streaming schedule?
Absolutely. The big thing that we've established here is Fran Fridays, FM3 Fridays on Twitch after noon Pacific time. Obviously, when I'm not here doing something with you guys.
And
love
remember,
that.
if you're a sub on FM3_, you can request a song. And for the rest of the month, you can
no,
only
no, no.
request Anthem by Good Charlotte.
Hell
Maybe.
yes.
That's like, maybe.
Oh, no, lose it
License
right.
it.
Oh.
But this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast each and every week right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We get together, talk about video games, all the things that we love about them. Patreon supporters at the silver membership or above on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames get to watch the show live as we record it. You get the show 3 days early and you get the full exclusive pre and post shows. And this one was a doozy.
It was.
Almost 30 minutes of quality content. Fantastic stuff. Or you can just watch the show later on Mondays at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
It's more
or
than we have a stopwatch. I look over, it's 25 minutes now. How generous are we being rounding up?
Oh, that's an easy one.
I'm being
with Tim
generous
on that.
because my fucking clock for some reason on
Okay,
this laptop
don't.
is
Your heart?
it's like 5 minutes late, but it's the same. It's like I didn't set that, right?
Just-
Windows is supposed to like fix that.
Yeah, but your computer's like some weird knockoff PC, right? Yeah, so that's probably why.
Well, that is very true. So I'm happy I didn't say what I was going to say. You can also get it on roosterteeth.com now, or you can listen on your favorite podcast service. Just search for Kinda Funny Gamescast. This episode is brought to you by Robinhood, but we'll talk about that later. For now, shout out to our Patreon producers for this month. The list is very long. Thank you very much for that. Joe Beezer, Trevor Starkey, Muhammad, Blackjack, Steven Johnson, Scott Hardinger, Fanatic Gamer 1986, Drunk on Writing, DJ Kento, who I know is watching live right now. Thank you very much for that. Neil Maraquin, Sancho West, James Gastings, Ben Fraley, Eduardo Cabrera, Luchaga, Michael Howard, Snowbike Mike, Daniel Haynes, Casey Kern, and Mateus Forsheim.
Quick question.
What's up?
Do you guys know Sancho?
Sancho,
Yeah,
of
he's
course.
such a West. Yeah, we've known him a long time.
Awesome. I just hope he comes up someday. You guys should have him on. He's great.
Oh,
He's a coward and won't come up. He's been invited
Yeah, he's a
multiple
friend.
times.
Yeah, he's
Sancho.
scared.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sancho.
It's similar to Snow Mike with all the excuses
Too
of I'm
busy in
snowed
LA.
in, can't leave
I'm
Tahoe.
so snowed
I might
in.
die.
Sancho's all beached in LA.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't get out
Right,
of there.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
too
yeah.
much beach.
Oh, while we have a second though, hey, congratulations. This is Tim's first time doing a Gamescast Engaged.
Yay!
Thank you. It's
Yes.
true. Thank you all for coming out to the party.
Thank
That
you
was
for
a lot of
letting us
fun.
be part
Of course. And now you and Gia both get to use the weirdest word ever, fiance.
Yeah, it is weird, and she
Words.
loves using it. And I'm like, can we
Words, right?
stop?
My
She-
fiance.
every single damn
Right?
time I see her now, she's like, "Hi, fiance. Bye, good night, fiance." And then I'm like, which is fine. I'm down for her to do that. But then she does the stupid Gia thing, where she looks at me and she just goes,
No, it's your turn.
and I'm like,
It's
and
your
I'm
turn,
like, do you
right?
want me to say it back
Yes.
to you? She's like, yes, I do. And I'm like, great. I hope that wears off soon because
She's
not my
still,
favorite word.
She's still in the
she
glow.
can be in her glow forever.
I don't know, but you just said that she
hope
can't be
she-
because
She
you're
can.
clearly annoyed that
I am.
she's got the glow.
I don't like saying
Two
it.
fast questions. Fiance is 2 words, right? There's the male and female.
No,
no.
it's the fiance female version has an extra E.
Yeah, but that's.
But
I'm
it's
sorry.
spelled
Not a
different.
different word. Spelled
Said the
differently is
same.
what I meant.
That's a palette swap of words.
That's
you know
a
what I
pal-
mean?
Let's get Jen in here to really walk
Oh
us
my
through
gosh.
it. Also,
Thank you, though.
have you ever seen that 30 Rock where it's like there's somebody's name is fiance and they
no.
get into that like my fiance. Anyway, check it out. It's funny. Love the 30 Rock.
Bad name. I'll be
Fiance,
honest
yeah.
with you. Fran, last week,
Yes.
we reviewed Anthem.
Fran did, apparently.
Fran did. We did. I said in the episode, we're going
Yes.
to call this episode Fran's Anthem Review.
Yes.
And then I called the episode Fran's Anthem Review.
Yes.
And then people had thoughts about that. You'd be surprised.
Yes.
Do you want to address that in any way, shape,
real
or form?
fast. I just wanted to mention, like, we absolutely, Tim was like, we're doing Fran's Anthem. I'm like, let's go. I'm ready, you know? I feel like I walked through some of the big points, but there was a lot of dissatisfaction in the comments. You know, there's plenty of people that were
you can't
satisfied
worry about
too.
Fran.
Tim's like, don't worry about it.
You
But
really
It's okay because I think I have Greg convinced to turn them off.
No, not at all.
We had a drunk conversation about comments. Yeah.
So what I'd say, number one, please on the show, bear in mind it's a run of the run of show is an open discussion. We didn't sit down and have a script. I didn't really know in detail how we would go through it. There was no planned question.
And that's what reviews and Kind of Funny
and
are.
that's what the show format is, right? Which is cool. And I'm excited to do the same thing today with everybody in the room. But I do want to say, I don't think I made like a clear recommendation. But if you do listen, I say the story was spread out and wait, twist. I feel it. I even said on the show, I'm like, I think you guys are confused. And there's this discussion around Anthem right now, which maybe we'll get into. There's a ton of people who do not want to play it, and they're upset about anybody playing it. I think I heard from a lot of those folks. But I will say, I think, let's be a little more clear, or I will strive to be. I'll give you a score next time, or something, to make it more clear.
You don't have to do that.
You don't need to put a score
Oh,
on
I'm
it.
going to do it, because that's what I do.
You can do that. You can do that, but that is not the Kind of Funny way.
I know, you guys don't do that. You're like, we're not gonna do that. I know.
We give our impressions, and that's what this is, and I just want that
it's important
clear.
to me. I've been doing this for a
Demetrius
long time.
Newell in the pre-show was like, hey, I have an unopened copy of Anthem. Should I send it back, or should I keep it?
Okay.
Here's my thing. I said this on Games Daily, I guess it would have been Friday or Monday or something to that effect, of how great a job I thought Fran did at his verbal review, and that it was one of the most comprehensive. Like, I feel like when I review a game on the Gamescast, it is just totally, and you ask a question, I'm like, oh, I should have mentioned that. It's not like when I used to write reviews, and
Yeah,
I was
because
very
that's the
much like,
format.
here I'm going. I thought you did it as well as I've seen somebody translate a written review into a stream of thought, because you did a great job of laying it out. Remember, then you're like, and then you went into all the stuff.
Yeah,
You didn't
try.
really, and at the end, I walked away and I told you, I'm more excited for the game based on everything you
I
just
know.
said.
And it's funny because I remembered that moment. You're like, I'm excited. I was like, you are?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I said I liked the game, but I was thinking you guys are going to be like, oh, so.
The red flags that are red flags for you weren't red flags for me.
Yeah,
and
red
that's
flags
the
for me.
biggest thing. What?
And that's why I think it was a good review that you gave, because
I appreciate that.
I was all the story stuff I thought I might get from this, I'm definitely not. Cool, I'm out.
Well, and that's the thing for Demetrius Newell, I feel, is that he needs to listen to that in the discussion I'm sure we're about to have and decide, what do you want from games like this? Because what this game gave me, and I mean has given me, right, to bring you up to speed since last time, I've beaten the story, I'm level 21, I'm doing strongholds, I'm screwing around with the side missions after
you're
the fact.
in the mid-end game.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
like the end
I
game.
just, what did I do? I moved my javelins officially. What's the next tier up from? I got my
you're
first.
epic now,
I got my
probably.
first trophy
You're
for doing
purple.
however many
Probably a
missions I
purple
need to do.
jav.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. That sounds right.
Them perp.
But
Wait, no,
until you're not really in the end game. I don't know
Sure.
what to call it till you're 30 because.
Oh yeah. That's level cap, right? And that's when you get masterworks and all that jazz.
And I kind of talk about that, but until level 30, there's a lot of the stuff you're gonna get is just totally throwaway. So don't worry about it too much.
Well, it's not. Oh, the items.
That's RPGs, though.
Yeah. Totally.
They're what?
I mean, but that's RPGs. Like the stuff that you earn, from the beginning to the mid, you don't usually keep any of that stuff
That's
anyway.
true, but I mean, honestly, it really it's got all these inscriptions and perks, and I was really going through because you don't know what's coming until obviously now the game's out, and I can literally just say I'm like, do not even freaking bother. Part of it, here's the deal, Andrea. I don't think it's I hate the word impactful sometimes, but I don't think it impacts the game as much as it should. I agree with you though; it's the early game, but 20 to 30 hours of a bunch of stuff that you're just going to throw away. And you can even, my last point, you can craft blues.
Yeah.
Why would I bother in that time? I get the thought. It's sort of I don't think many people would play that way. Power through the 30.
I am. Where I am wading into it of oh man, they gave me a new thing that's better than this in power, but I still like having the
like having this
acid
other
mist
thing.
or whatever, or out of the cryoglaive.
Yeah, I
and
went
so it
through
is
that.
that I go into craft. I'm like, oh, there it is, and I see how crafting works, and
Cryoglaive.
I do it. I'm like, try
Playing
it.
that Interceptor boy?
Fuck yeah, I'm playing this. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me over here, doggy dog? You know how I roll. Wear my
forgot that you're an Interceptor.
my N7 vinyl. You kidding me out there? All black, matte black. I look sexy as fuck.
So yeah, sorry, I don't know if we're getting off track in inscriptions.
Well,
but
anyway, stop. You're way into in the weeds, right? Of
saying, do
that's
you
my
like
thing
it?
is, yes, I have had nothing but fun with Anthem. You know what I mean? But again, this is what I've talked about before, and I think we touched a little bit in Games Daily today. It's come up of, well, what are you an expert at? Because I'm like, I'm not Fran. I'm not Destin. I'm not Andrea, about this game in terms of I'm the guy who played Destiny 2 vanilla, in quotes, you know what I mean? A month one, platinumed it, and we're like, what a great time. They nailed it and put it down and walked away. Whereas everybody else is like, this isn't what we want from this game, where it was perfect for me. Right now, Anthem isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of the kind of shared world looter shooter that this is, it's what I want out of this one right now while I wait for the Division. And I want to rant for just a couple seconds about this, right? To bring my take on it. I thought it was telling that at the engagement party, Thuggin' Duggan himself, James Duggan, that was IGN's reviewer, was there, right? And of course, we were all talking about Anthem, and it was this conversation. He's like, well, how are you enjoying it? I'm like, I'm having a great time. I know I'm different. What I really dig about it is this thing that didn't work with us playing on launch day, Andrea and Kevin and I, right, in the same room, because it was us screaming at each other, this not working. Wait, how are you doing? Okay, blah, blah. And even going home and playing with, I think, did we play that night? It was Kevin and Barrett. Playing at home with other people, it still wasn't, I was like, this is fun, but I'm not having a great time. I started having a great time when I started playing by myself. Because by myself, I found myself running through the thing and talking to the characters and being like, "Holy shit, you're awesome! Your storyline is interesting, and I do want to run your missions, and I do want to have these conversations, and everything that happens with like Matthias, right, or whatever, and Dax.
How many sexy bad decisions are there?
That comes up quite a bit. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, this is really interesting because you're bringing this different perspective.
Yeah,
but so single player.
And so here's what it was. Where I was talking, and I loved the fact that for the Division, right. I'm talking Division 1, which we loved, right? Division 1, what would be, for the most part, when I'd sign on and play, it would be like, oh, fuck, Fran's not on. Well, I'll hit up Fran. Can you play? Okay, wait.
Scott,
no,
are you
exactly. Tyrute, Brennan, right? I'll run around and I'll get stuff until somebody's there, and then we'll do the real content. What I love about Anthem is that and I know this is something weird to love, but this is very specifically Greg Miller, is that I was getting the story stuff, then I was running out into the missions in the Javelin, getting assigned with other people who weren't using their mics either. Yeah, exactly. And we just ran the stuff. And I know well enough from playing enough games of service that these missions don't matter in terms of I don't need to really be coordinating. What are you running? What are you doing?
Don't really need them.
So it was a great way of getting in there, doing it, getting back out, and having the thing. And if I wanted to jump in with Kevin or something, I could. What I was talking to Duggan about was that I was having fun with all that, and I was enjoying the fact that I felt like I was building on my character, learning how to play the game, so that when I do want to jump in with Kevin, when I do want to help him out, when I do want to run stuff end game with Strongholds with you guys, I'm going to be able to go do it and have fun and be able to talk to you, and that's where we'll all. So what did you do today? Oh, this is happening. Oh, my cat or Portilla's doing. And Doug was like, that's an interesting perspective, because when I play these games, I want to play the entire thing with people, and I want to do the whole thing with them. And I'm like, I get that. I just want at the end, because I'd rather have something going on here. And this is what I didn't understand, and I still don't. And I pitch it to you guys as the Destiny experts. So many people, when, we're talking about this, and hey, Kev, can you grab Andy? I texted him, but I don't think he's looking at it. It was the thing of, when I put out over the weekend, like, hey, I'm having a lot of fun with this, right? So many people were either, oh my gosh, yeah, me too, or so many people were just like, no, man, fuck this game. It's got a bland sci-fi story, and it's got this, that, and the other. Yeah. And being teamed up with people in Destiny and playing through the single player, the stuff before the end game, just to get there, I don't remember a lot of story beats out of that. Like, I don't remember even a lot of great character interaction.
When you were teamed up.
Yeah.
Because there was not that many.
And so that was my thing of, the people are like, oh man, the overall story for it is a, boring, bland sci-fi tale, right? And like, I mean, you talked about it, like, whatever, this main story thread.
I think I said it was like straightforward. It is a bit cliche, but
totally.
I got attached to a couple of the characters.
Well, no, stick with me. Here's where I think it's different.
Main characters.
And stick with me, everybody. I feel like, and this is, I know I've been beating this horse all year, but it's like Star Trek Discovery, where I feel like Star Trek Discovery for a season tells you an overarching story, like where we're going on the thing, and then you get these awesome episodes that are all about the characters, right? I feel that in this, all the episodes of Anthem, of me dealing with you and talking like, oh, you're really cool. Yeah, I'll run your mission. And I'll come back and do that thing. Were interesting. I enjoyed those characters. I feel like I made not a connection, but I understand who they are. Mm-hmm. The overarching thing I thought was the opposite of Discovery, where I was just like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. When I was leading up to the final mission, Jen sat down and watched me play through it. I beat the thing at the end, and it ends, credits. She's like, cool, what was that like? And I was like, I don't know what did I just do? Like, I don't know what I just did here, but it was fine. I like the characters. The characters who were talking, I'm really happy we all palled around and did what we needed to do, but
yes, the
whatever.
Villain, that's a simple point there. I thought the villain was a little cliche, and then like it also has been done before, and then I was like, I guess I know what happened, but it seemed a little underdeveloped in that sense.
Sure. But the ride I've had a great time with.
Surprised for a couple of those character moments, I was like, oh, I'm actually worried about my friend in the game, so to speak. Mm-hmm. That was the piece that I thought that worked, despite the overarching, like, okay, godly like power that you chase down because a villain wants it. Of course, every story is kind of like that.
God's Eye, Fast 7.
But there you go.
Andy, I'm bringing you into the conversation. I'm sorry, I texted you over there. You were talking about, have the same thing, right? Of like, It's not the best thing ever, but we're having fun with it, right? Why do people want to hate it so much?
Yeah, I think people enjoy seeing a company that isn't necessarily loved, like EA, having troubles, and people kind of like enjoy the piling on of it.
Drop the word.
What?
What's the word of the day, Andy?
Well, I don't know. What is it?
What is it? Oh,
What is it?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Oh,
What the fuck is that? I don't know what that word of the day is.
It's what he's
When you
describing.
enjoy somebody else's misery. Like
He dropped it earlier just casually in conversation.
Yeah.
I was
God,
like, this
you're a
is going to come
smart
up
one.
later.
I was thinking about it yesterday while I was streaming it, and I was like, oh, and somebody brought it up. I was like, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I was trying to think of it. Anyway, yeah, I'm having fun with it. Like, it reminds me of when I was enjoying it and I'm streaming it and people are coming in saying like, yeah, but did you see this review? Yeah, but did you hear about this? Yeah, but this kind of sucks, huh? And it's like watching a movie and then walking out and enjoying it and somebody being like, yeah, but it's like a 5 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't give
Which
a
is
shit.
fine.
I just watched it and I enjoyed it. Like, to me, this game, if I were to put a number on it, I'd say like 7.5. It gets higher in some moments where I am enjoying it. The characters I'm super attached to at this point already. I noticed our friend Anthony Chilled Chaos from Let's Play Network, he tweeted like, I hate having to go back to Fort Tarsis. I wish I could just talk to these NPCs in the world.
Yeah, I
I
had the same
disagree with
feedback.
that.
Oh, really?
I disagree with that because it reminds me of a classic sort of BioWare game where when I'm done with the missions, I go back to the Normandy
ship,
or I
yeah.
go back to Skyhold.
Right.
And I love the downtime in between these missions where I get to talk to these people.
It's like supports in a Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
and I enjoy seeing the map and seeing all these characters that I can talk
Yeah.
to that have conversations available.
And this is the weird thing where, and I don't know how much where you come down and you think on like a spectrum of enjoying story versus games as a service stuff. I'm in the same boat, and so that's the thing for me that I like that there's this. It's not 2 games, but there's these weird options there, right? Of I can just play it like I would traditionally play anything, right? Any BioWare game or any single player game of talking to people. But then when I want to, squat up and I do want to just run around and ignore stuff and drop back into what do they call it? I can go to the Forge. I can go to the
Tarsis, Bastion,
Launch
free play
Bay.
contracts,
Launch Bay. Thank you. I can jump back in the Launch Bay and we can set something new and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting how it seems like people are criticizing BioWare for the game they're making, saying it's not a BioWare game when so much of it strikes me as a very stereotypical BioWare game. You mentioned going back to Skyhold or back to Normandy, and I saw one of these reviews because I have gone out and looked at a bunch of other people's comments on it because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being completely one-sided, and I'm like you. I still love it despite its flaws.
Yeah.
And one of the complaints that I saw was that the NPCs in Fort Tarsis don't move around. And it's like, well, the NPCs in the Normandy didn't move around. You would always have to go to the very specific location
Yeah, the rooms or
that
whatever.
each one was in. And it's the same with Skyhold. I'm like, that's just a very BioWare thing. It doesn't make them bad. I don't understand why that's a complaint. It's a
I
weird
do-
thing to complain
Well,
about.
I do think that they are when BioWare kept saying yes, you can play this as a single player game. This is a single player experience. They kept driving that home, and in the back of our minds, we were like, no, it's probably you're gonna need to team up with friends at some point or whatever. I have not teamed up with anybody yet, and I think that's
Are you
why
playing
I
private
You do have to
matches?
matchmake.
Well, yeah,
You have to match.
matchmaking.
Okay,
Or
yeah, you're
teaming up
okay,
with
yeah,
random
yeah.
people, and I don't have to talk to them, which is great.
Yeah.
But
you got to keep up with them in the world, though.
That's totally fine.
Oh, that shit too. I thought
I
was
know.
so overblown. Like
Oh,
not
I
playing it for a
disagree.
week when people are like, "Oh my god," and you got to do this. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is gonna suck." And for when we first started playing day 1, and it was like Kevin and I were like, "Oh man, oh shit, we gotta get together." Okay, but like playing with
Really?
randoms now, it rarely ever happens.
I think that's just like the luck of the draw when it
I
comes
don't
to the
know. I think
matchmaking.
it's a huge problem. But I cut Andy out. So you said you liked playing it single player.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a single player because
Matchmaking.
one reason why I haven't wanted to team up with Greg or Kevin yet until the story is done, or even like some kind of funny best friends who have like DM me and say, hey, let's party up or whatever, because I am enjoying taking my time in Fort Tarsis, just talking to
Yeah.
people. And I love having those conversations available. The amount of times I went to go see what Garrus had to fucking say in the
Garrus?
Normandy, even when he didn't have
I thought
anything
you
to
were
say.
saying Garrus
Yeah.
was in it. I was like,
No.
oh,
He's
I
like,
I
oh,
missed
come
this.
back
Oh, he's
later.
an
And you're like, but I
unlockable thing.
want to talk.
Yeah, I just want to talk and see if there's more things available.
Yeah.
And I know, I just love getting to know those NPCs. One problem that I am noticing with loading into a mission where your teammates are, not the getting left behind thing, but sometimes you phase in and you are
You
midway
don't
through
all
a story
load in
beat.
before you can start. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So
It's not-
I've loaded in a few times where my character and Owen are midway through a conversation. It's like, well, what are we talking about? Like, I don't
In the
know.
story, it's a
Yeah.
big problem.
Exactly. But the voice actors are phenomenal.
dude.
in
What
this
I mean, you
game.
mentioned Owen. Like, what a performance from Owen.
He's so
so
great.
good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I totally disagree. I'm a different type of player, by the way, so you're not wrong. And I wanted to bring up a point about that. But one, I totally disagree. I'm not the type of player. I can't wait to check off. I have so many conversations still in the fort.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of them, and I was like, slogging around, like, first person. It's fine. I get it. It's not for me. I'm just like, and it adds nothing to the grind and the gameplay for me. Again, doesn't make it wrong.
Right, but
I enjoy some of the writing, by the way.
I
It's
would
there
tell
if
you, though,
want it.
that you're missing the point of a BioWare game, that if you skip those conversations, it's going to change the way the game plays out for you in the end.
No, but it doesn't
And that's
change
why,
that.
like, diehard BioWare fans, like, go and check in with everybody every single time they're back in Fort Tarsus, because we know that those relationships will mean something in the end.
But here's the problem: is it doesn't matter as it pertains to Halleck and Faye and really.
But
for
how
the
do you know if
story.
you've never had the conversations?
I have. I've had a bunch, and there's even more. And it's like I brought up a simple example, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it's like you talk about that one girl, and she's like, well, I want to go catch these pets. I thought it was a really cute story. So actually, I appreciate the writing, that they did a pretty solid job. There's a lot in there, man. There's so much written.
Yeah,
And if you
a lot of
want
lore.
it, and by the way, I love any game like this, and that's where, if you're doing reviews, people don't listen to, there's always a couple sides to it. If you love the lore, there's a ton. Some of the performances, I mean, that's Christian Schall, is that her name? She was from Flight of the Conchords.
The one dude I don't like, Joe from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The guy who's in
Is that the guy in the hallway who's always
not
like, hey,
Lucky
did you hear
Jack.
about this thing?
Yes.
I'm like, shut the
Oh,
fuck
yeah,
up.
yeah,
I
that
hate
guy.
you.
I can't stand it.
But they want me to hate him.
I love the
I
voice actor.
pick the asshole response every time.
I love the voice actor, or I love the actor from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's also the guy from Superbad. The guy's like, you guys on MySpace? He's that dude in the car with him. The thing I don't like about him, he's too good looking. Like, I need him to, like, everybody in this world is too
The
handsome.
world's, dude, I was going to make that comment. A lot of the people are very, like, attractive.
Yeah.
There's no Rex,
God, it
right?
drives me crazy.
Jolo Truglio.
Joe, yeah, there you go. He's great.
See, and I think this is one of the reasons there's so much strife about Anthem, is that I feel like it's just, people came in expecting another Destiny, so you have that crowd who are coming with that mentality. People came in expecting it to be a BioWare game.
expect that.
Really?
Another Destiny, that is.
Okay.
I saw all the pieces, but like it's really weird. I did really expect a new IP that blends this, new looter grind.
But you just said you don't
And-
like it.
Don't like what?
You don't like the way that
Talking
they
to
are
people.
trying to build narrative in the game. You are trying
didn't
to
say that.
fast track to the end game.
That- I
You
didn't
said
say
you didn't
that.
want to talk to him. You said you were
That's
bored and
right.
slogging around.
And I said I appreciate it if there's if you need. You all are illustrating why this job is so tough. And I was
Right.
going to point out,
Yeah,
I'd love
totally.
if at the end of this, we actually make a recommendation for, for yourselves and
Sure.
others, because I think that's where things get caught up is you use the word, Andrea, you love it. Actually, do you love the game? Because I say the same thing. I'm like, actually, I really liked it. And there's like, well, okay, guys, it's hyperbole. I'm not saying I love the game like it's a 9.5. You're not listening to me when I say I have all these gripes. So like that was the gist of this whole discussion for me. I'm like, it's so hard to just be like what Andy said, that now there's all these people out there who have not even played it, and they're like, you're a shill now, Andy, because
Yeah.
you said you
Oh,
enjoyed
we knew that about
yourself.
Andy.
Oh, yeah, I'm a definitely
But
sure.
all I wanted to point out is
It's okay. We have a club.
I really hate that we gotta live in a world. It's a 0 or
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a 10.
Oh, it's binary, yes
and
or
you're
no.
on the bandwagon or you're not, and you're part of the cool kids or you're not. And I hate living in that world because, by the way, if it's a 6 for you, that doesn't mean that you're the scum of the earth. You're like, yeah, it's a 6. I see the problems, but it's okay. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I
Like, God forbid you play something that is not a 10, and that's not what we're saying when we say that we enjoyed it, or even hyperbole. We say, I loved it. It's not, you gotta listen to everything that we're saying.
Yeah.
I guess
Anyway,
just
sorry.
based on all of the sort of negativity, I expected to go in there and be like,
Oof.
Yeah,
this
that
is
is a
gonna be
hot,
rough.
steaming
And
pile,
I
right?
am enjoying the hell out of it. I don't think it's a perfect game by any means. I think it is really flawed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I'm still having
But you
fun.
enjoy it.
And I'm not. And again, for this person who needs to be the single player, I don't want to team up with anybody. It's working for me without teaming up with anybody that I know.
Are you
And-
excited though to team up eventually?
Yeah, once the
Because
story's
that's
done.
my thing now.
Once the story's done.
Now that I've gotten here and I'm just grinding till 30 and hanging out or whatever. And again, it's not a perfect game for me either. And I'm not saying that at all, right?
It's like life, y'all.
For me, this is, of course, like I've said from the beginning, right? Killing time till the division, right? So, but for me, how much, Tim always asks me when I play these kind of games, great, are you going to play in a month, you think? And I'm like, no, for division, or with division, no way.
Division's out. That's gonna be
But
a
it's
little
like,
tough.
So maybe in May when they drop, the new Cataclysm event, you'll come
but
back.
now where I
right?
am, right, of like, I just love the gameplay of it. I love the missions and stuff. So like now I feel like I literally am a freelancer of like, whenever you're ready to have somebody in there, and even if it is you are going to go do whatever.
Stronghold
I
or
got no
whatever.
problem. Oh, I mean, just you run stories and I'll be on your team and not I won't talk or do whatever. I'm totally down to fuck around and just be in there.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's coming away from it. Like the way I started talking about on Games Daily a little bit, and I've talked about it in private, right? Is that Fran, I think you put on the subreddit thing. You thought like if you had a number, you'd say like 7, right?
Yeah,
like something like
I have
that.
a number now. I've been working on an actual review.
I feel like that's a great place to peg it. And when I stick with it of like where right now I'm so ravenous for the division, right? And I'm so excited for the beta this weekend and just to fuck around and go and whatever. Anthem I'm playing it and like when I finally started getting the wheels underneath me over the weekend of like, oh, this is going. I like talking to people. I like listening. Oh, this is working. Oh, okay, great. Blah blah blah.
Wow.
It was still that anytime Jen was like, oh, you want to go to a bike ride? You want to do this? Oh, sure. I could put it down. Anthem hasn't had its hooks in me in the way that like, fuck, I have to get home and play it. I want to play it so bad right now. I got to do the blah, blah. Even like last night, like I started playing Ape Out, which I know I'll talk about eventually, and had a great time and got to a level and it was like just enough of a difficulty spike that I ran a couple times. Like I've been playing for a while. I'm going to go run a stronghold in Anthem. I'm going to go check in, do this. Did those and like, you know, and one mission, Jen's like, hey, you want to watch a movie? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, let me finish this. Okay, finish it. And popped out. Again, for me and Greg Miller and Anthem, that's a great relationship, I feel, for it. Of like, cool, I don't mind having a game that isn't all encompassing and devouring, you know, making my eyes bleed or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I think it's all about
bed.
expectation.
From what I've been seeing a lot, not just our community, but like across the internet, but specifically like in our Reddit and on Facebook groups and all that stuff, is that there's this idea that you are reviewing it for you and you're having your discussion. That's what the show's always been, kind of. And that because of Anthem being what it is, or is not, for whatever people want to put on that, it's that us recommending a $60 game and like $60 game, and that EA should be punished for putting something out that is broken and that is
unfinished,
that is
or whatever
like
it is,
unfinished, and it's like, how did they not learn from the mistakes that Destiny made and all of that? And it's like, I guess that like kind of brings up a discussion of like, is that our place with what we do? And like, if we put the label of review on something, is that saying that like we are recommending it to people or not recommending it, and is that the end of the job? Because in my opinion, that's not. It's to me the review. It's the discussion, and it is like you need to listen to the discussion, decide if that sounds like it's right for you or not. Because last week you gave your review discussion. And
but it wasn't really
it was for him, and I knew it wasn't for me.
Well, but everybody's tastes are different,
yeah.
and their expectations are different for what they should be getting. And I think we're getting into this weird gray area with games as services. And for people who play a lot of them, like Fran and I and Andy, it's just like we understand that like when the game comes out at launch, that's not going to be the complete game for the first 90 days. And like that it's just historically been the way it's been since Destiny Vanilla launched in 2014. And for people to expect different of that, I think is somewhat a little unrealistic. And that's probably going to be a very controversial statement.
But see, to Tim's point, is it okay, Andrea, that somebody fudged it up and now it's a thing, quote unquote? And I'm not asking you to answer that now.
What do you mean, is it okay if somebody fudged it up?
You made it, you almost, and that's why I enjoy these very open discussions, like, you almost made it sound where it's like, yeah, like games don't get finished now for 90 days after.
But the thing is,
but what you're saying, I think, is you're like, wait, what I assume what you meant is it's a game as a service, and this is how it's supposed to go.
And
like, which is it?
This is the nuance I got into a little bit with some of the kids in the subreddit, because the threads after last week's episodes were just a little ridiculous. And so I went in there and waited in there and tried to have some actual conversations instead of people just like telling me what I thought. And I was trying to like actually address it.
This game is bad. You shouldn't like it.
Well, it's just like I said, and somebody was trying to compare it to like a standalone single player game. I'm like, a release like God of War,
like Last of Us,
it's not like Destiny 2, right? Like those are two fundamentally different games. When God of War is released, it's not a multiplayer game. There's no online component.
There's no reaction.
When it ships, it should be final on the disc, unless they're going to add additional story DLC. But when you take a game like Destiny 2 that has a giant online ecosystem and has a major multiplayer component and is an always online game, it's a completely different type of experience at launch. And I think that that's not an unreasonable thing to say.
Yeah, you're saying you should expect that games as a service are going to have stuff that comes after. Like, by the way, Apex doesn't even have a battle pass yet. But it's
fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it sounds to me like
Zero
that's
out
what
of
you were.
10.
Hey, thanks, Cool Greg.
I assume that's what you were getting at.
Thanks, Cool Greg.
But it can be misunderstood.
Yes, that and like the technical problems that happen with an online-only game that are incorporating hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of global players. Like they're going to discover problems after the launch goes that they can't simulate in a pre-launch environment.
But it makes it realistic in a lot of ways. And I mean, of to anticipate that the game's not going to be perfect. I've been having this same conversation with Jen of like, babe, March 15th, 16th, 17th, clear the calendar, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And Jen's like, all right, cool. And then like something did come up where she's like, oh, these people want to have dinner, but I'll cancel. I'm like, babe, chances are division's going to be fucking broken. It's not going to work. Something will be not working with that game when it comes out.
So the thing there is like, that doesn't make it okay, but it's like, that's why the games aren't getting 10s. Right, from sites that are giving proper reviews, that are reviewing that side of it, where it's like, that's not what we're doing.
That's what bothers me so much. If the average is a 6, people are like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I like it. It's a 6, and other people want to see 6 as a failure. That's not, by the way, a broken game is like what, a 3?
But we also shouldn't be reviewing an online game on launch week. Like, I appreciate that Andrew Reiner over at Game Informer made the decision to push Game Informer's review of Anthem because he said, hey, we don't think it is accurately portraying the game to release a review based only on the early access PC period. Yeah. We want to see it on how it performs on console, and after the day one patch goes live, and then we will put our review out. But like very few outlets actually make that responsible choice, and that's really frustrating that there's many reviews out there on Anthem that are before the day one patch was pushed. And I got really upset about that last week because you can't get that game anymore. That game just doesn't exist. So if you're a consumer looking at Metacritic going, do I want to buy Anthem?
There's a lot of
like
reviews
a lot of those reviews are based off of a build of the game that you can no longer play.
And a lot of that is on EA for their
absolutely. They are 100% at fault for this. And and like I said on What's Good last week, I'm not letting them off the hook for that.
Yeah.
Like, they are at fault 100%. I just think that the overarching like generalizations being made about Anthem's problems are unfortunate for a wide variety of reasons, which we've been clearly discussing today.
Have y'all been crashing? Have y'all been having?
Yes.
I've had one crash.
I haven't been having crashing
I'm on PC
issues.
though. I tried PS4. I didn't have, it must be all the turbo taxing.
Yeah.
The Minesweeper turbo taxing.
You look at you're looking at your fan clock, and man, it's just so many percentages are going to the fucking turbo tax.
But 100%, there's absolute disconnects. People have lost loot because it's still a concern and issue. But again, I'm not excusing it, but we're out here playing Apex. Also, it crashes like when I'm in endgame on Apex.
Does your Apex still crash all the time?
Apex still crash. Yeah,
but I have an RTX 2080.
The patch did not fix my issues. I believe the issue now is just like the friends list issue. The point is, but I'm still crashing on Apex a lot. It
absolutely has some like issues. I've also just had really weird stuff happen sometimes. So beware.
It's so weird. I'm having like the mirrored issue that Apex has. I'm having zero problems on Anthem, where it seems like everybody who's playing Apex is like, dude, I'm not crashing at all. It's your PS4, Andy. I'm like, no, it's not my fucking PS4.
I'm actually curious on console. Who plays on console here?
Me.
Anthem?
All of you. Good.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you run into the ghost lag enemies, I'll call them? This is one that really bothers me.
Oh, where you run over to kill somebody and they'll start disappearing?
And it's like...
I did in the...
They just stand there until the server catches up.
Oh, no. I've had it where we're all...
open demo.
I've had it where I'm working at a room or whatever and with the other people, and then I'll dash over to somebody to give them the final blow, and then as I get there, they Thanos away.
Yeah, so there's still something going on with it. But the point I was there's stuff like that, but it's not 100% of the time. It's like, it is rare. I was scrubbing through 20 hours of footage, and actually I was surprised. I'm like, actually, a lot of it isn't catching up. A lot of it is not crashing. But when it is there, it sucks. So
see, it's the usual thing of online games and different platforms and everything else of how tough it was to review at IGN and try to play it on everything. And I played 40 hours on PS3, but then I did 45 minutes on Xbox and 45 minutes on PC, and I
such a hard job.
It is, I think, of the amount of times I tweet something from Anthem. People are like, oh man, I would love to if I wasn't crashing all the time. I'm like, I just haven't seen that, and that sucks. And that's the thing of where it gets so hard to have that conversation, because I understand being justifiably angry at that, and then me not having that issue, and then being whatever. And then when Tim was playing Spider-Man and the cutscenes were loading weird and he wasn't popping in, but when people are like
the DLC.
Yeah,
Spider-Man was great. The DLC was
that was happening in Novishin. Remember, Brian?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. But for this one in particular, where people are like, oh man, it's like when people are writing Games Daily or talk about it online, they're like, oh man, this is as bad as Fallout 76. I'm like, you are batshit crazy. But I can't speak to what you're seeing on your side. But my PlayStation 4 version, you keep those out of your mouth at the same time. That doesn't make any sense.
Like you said, a lot of it was early access issues that they then patched in day one. There's still some of that stuff there, but it's at least for me, I played Fallout 76 on launch day, not after. I understand they've made a bunch of improvements, but it was not nearly that was I was like, ugh.
Do you still have the early on, one of the complaints was like, oh man, they got loot wrong, right? And granted, they put up this patch today, all this different stuff. I'm just talking in general though. Are you in the camp of the loot isn't rewarding, and I wish I could switch my guns out on the fly and all that jazz?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Long commentary, but the short of it would be, so all I care about are, of course, Masterworks and Legendaries now.
Yeah.
There's a handful of them that come with cool perks. One of them, for
Fucking
example, is a
1% over
freaking
here.
amazing heavy pistol called Avenging Herald. You hover, you get 200% damage, and imagine that you get heavy pistol damage on top of it. It wrecks. But there's not a lot of guns that feel that way. And there's some gear. One, as another example, gives you 700% like recharge. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a few of them that are cool, but they're rare. Some of them just feel, it was like Destiny. Some you're like, I don't care about this exotic. So it is absolutely going through it, but worse, they'll look the same. And we saw that in early demos. So that's my complaint. It's not that it's not there. And by the way, I did get excitement. When I see a yellow now, I'm like, is that a green or a yellow? Oh my God, it's a yellow. It's a legendary because they look really close to lime green, you know? And I do have that excitement. And when you see it dropped, a shotgun with 300% damage, you can get some amazing stacked stuff. But it is narrows also.
Gotcha.
They have a lot of work to do.
Because
it feels special.
Again, not from being from your camp, right? Or like literally when they were like, we are fixing Destiny 2 and it's going to be more grindy. And I was like, well, I'm never going back to Destiny 2. Like, that's not what I want. Like for me, like when I finished the story and jumped into my first stronghold and was just running with a random, and the first treasure chest we were doing, we were popping them and it's just raining purples and blues. I was like, this is awesome. Right. And that's me as a novice kind of these player where I was like, this is so cool. And I don't mind personally at this level where I have to go back to the Forge afterwards and put on the new thing.
Right. Well, I think what Destiny did so well and continues to do well that Anthem could learn something from, and we'll talk later when we talk about the Division 2 about devs learning from other devs, but was that the exotic quest lines in Destiny are so exciting to do because it feels like the community is coming together to solve a puzzle with each other. And then you're chasing this one specific piece of gear that has like these really amazing rolls on it or has like a really beautiful visual style. And I think that's clearly what Anthem is missing with their gear and why I don't even feel comfortable anymore calling them a looter shooter because the loot just really isn't there. The highlight of Anthem is the javelins, right? Like the powers and the abilities of the javelins, the design of the javelins, and the flight mechanic system in the game are really what sells Anthem for me. And my biggest gripe isn't even the guns, which, you know, you should have a gripe with. I mean, but in pre-release, I had always said, this is clear that the combat is being focused on the abilities of the javelins and not on your guns. My gripe is the armor and how
Whatever.
If you go back and, you know, like props to Angry Joe, I talk about this in What's Good. He went back to the customization stream that BioWare did like a month or so ago. It's like a 45-minute stream, and they like broke down all like the fabrics and the colors. And in there, if you like freeze frame it, when they pull up, you know, pieces of armor, there's
there's withheld armor that we haven't
there's like
seen
a
yet.
dozen helmets inside that menu that he pulls up, and
That
I'm
is
like,
for sure a huge problem for me.
Act
I'm just
one.
like,
and like
Act
that's
2, Act
that's
3.
bad. That's bad that you're putting out a game at launch that's $60 and you give 3 fucking helmets.
Exactly.
Like that to me is
Totally.
unacceptable,
And
and
they don't
it's
do
a
anything for you.
major point of contention for me so far in my playtime with Anthem. Is that I got the Legion of Dawn armor set for getting a special edition.
The
'cause
best
that's-
armor too.
That's because EA sent the code over, but to have the entire community have to pay extra for one cool set of armor when there should be multiple cool sets of armor built into the game, into the loot pool that you can get, that to me is a gigantic fuck up.
It is. Oh yeah, it suffers 100% from this. That's where when you mentioned games of service and the 90 days, so it's great to hear from you on that. They're totally withholding stuff because they don't have enough, and that's what strikes me about.
And like, why?
that especially.
Why withhold 3? Have you gotten more than 3? I've only seen 3
No, that's it.
individual
So-
helmets.
So just so everyone knows, right now, unless it changed today on February 28th or whatever day it is, I don't know anymore. It is the set that you start with. There is the Legion of Dawn. There's one that you can buy, a blue, that you can just buy as part of it. Now, buy when I say you earn
With
coin in the
coins?
game.
Yeah.
With coins. So you earn through bounties and all this other stuff. And then there's the rotating one in the store. So there's 4. That's it. But we know that Elysian
but
caches
the one in
are
the
coming.
store you can buy for shards, which is real world
Yes,
money.
you can pay for it, but you can also use your coins. It's 60,000 though, and at least early game, it took me like 25 hours to earn that just for a set of armor. That, by the way, I don't think.
yeah, when they refreshed the store this week and I jumped in, I was like, I don't even have enough coin for that. I was like 58.
The designs
58.
are
Yeah.
not that good. The best thing I got from the store with my coin, I think it was like 5,000. Was like I got that like what's the word? They called it diamond, but it looks like
the diamond plate metal.
I'm gonna call it like the semi-truck panels with the
Cool.
gridiron.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's diamond plate. Yeah, and it's not just helmets. It goes to all of the armor pieces. It goes to the emotes as well. Like
What? Yeah,
if you
they're
go
so
back to their
cute.
customization stream, they have like 20 plus emotes in that freeze frame and the customization stream. And I'm like, where the hell are all those emotes?
That's what's been surprising
It's a
me
holdback.
again of like, yeah, like the loot system, right? Like I don't care that I know this is crazy and another reason I'm not a Destiny player.
Yeah.
But for me with Destiny, it was always like, I didn't give a shit about, is it an assault rifle? Great. Give me I don't care about any of this stuff. Like, hold on one second. So like when I jump down, it's like, oh, I got a new blue or a new purple. And I'm like, I hope that's a better gun. And I go in, it's got better stats. I put it on, it's whatever. But it is the thing of like, I can't believe it's not dropping vinyls. I can't believe it's not dropping helmets and armor pieces. And I still look the same I do as, I you know, whatever. 20 at level 21,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
entire week of play, I still look pretty much exactly as I looked on day one. It's
Yeah.
that's weird.
I mean, I griped a lot about Destiny's green emotes and how they were garbage, but at least there was a crap ton of them to choose
yeah.
from, you know, and you get
At
so
the end
many
of every match,
at
it's
the
all
beginning.
just doing this, and it's all throwing the flare, and it's just like, oh, that's all we
Yeah,
can do.
and like and emotes continue to drop in engrams and things like that. But so far in Anthem, I'm like, where is the stuff?
There's not. So yeah, specifically, it is 100% held back because, by the way, I forgot about that stream. Now that you say it, it's all coming together. I'm like, wait, it is.
Well, they
designed.
opened the door and showed that they clearly have made it, and it's like, why are you holding that back? Especially since the releases that are coming are free
They're free.
updates. So I'm like, but why not have like 10 helmets at launch?
Because
Like
what you don't want is the opposite. You put everything in the game, people are done in a week, and that is what they worry about too. Is how do you sustain?
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think it would have been better to
But
be
it
like,
is-
at least there's a ton of shit here, and this wouldn't have been.
I
a
agree.
complaint.
It was an absolute mistake. There's way too few of these materials, and now I'm waiting. And then they're like, "But wait, there's Stronghold Elysian caches that you're going to earn."
Yeah,
later
Stronghold
in
specific
March.
loot,
I
yeah.
believe it's March, so it's coming, but we're waiting. And like, I don't know how much.
Too bad
Honestly,
Division will be here. Fuck it.
Bioware, I would encourage you to go since you've already. I forgot, shown this stuff, tell us exactly when it's coming. And if I'm waiting until Act 2 or Act 3 for all those 12 pieces, honestly, just tell us now. Because what
Yeah.
you don't want is us speculating like this, is how long do I have to wait for more? So it's an absolute mistake.
So do I recommend it?
Yeah,
Yes.
come around.
Yeah,
come around the block,
Closing
dude. Yeah.
thoughts on Anthem
Again,
for now.
Okay,
again,
so
it's weird. It all depends on what your preferences are. Greg is super stoked for the Division. I'm not, but I'll
Fuck
play it with
you,
Greg.
Andy.
Like the Division does nothing for me in terms of like aesthetics and
Oh, you don't
gameplay,
like
'cause
Washington D.C.
cover shooting. Like,
I mean, you have to be in cover the whole game.
yeah, cover shooting just doesn't really appeal to me. But
You'd rather be Iron Man.
But it's a game that I'll have fun with Greg if we play
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
You know, because it's you're teaming up and you're fucking shit up or whatever. Everything about Anthem, the vibe of it speaks to me. So that's why I prefer that to be my sort of games as a service game that I'm sticking with.
So you would buy it, or you did? Like you'd
I mean,
recommend it?
again, we got it for free, so how it's hard to say. Like I think if you have $60 and you're like, where should I put this $60? I would say watch a few streams and see if it speaks to you, because I've had people doing that, like and saying like, oh, this is actually looking cool. Maybe I will buy it, or I don't know, save it for something else. It's hard to say. It depends on
Coward.
what your preference
You're an
are.
adult.
Coward.
You should be able to make up your mind about what you want to do with your money.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the long and short of it for me, right, is
we can't
obviously
decide.
every game is subjective in terms of it's for you. This is not a God of War. This is not a Celeste. This is not this is not fucking Ape Out. Spend your fucking money. This is very much a, hey, yeah, you've heard everyone talk about this. If you fall in line with Greg Miller on games, I would totally recommend buying this.
It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't need to say too much about this. A couple weeks ago, I gave my review of Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts 3. You either know it's for you or it's not, based on those
That's the point of it,
conversations,
exactly.
right? Like, end it there.
That is
Is
the
it
point
worth
of a
$60? To some people, yes. To me, totally. To other people,
If
definitely
you
not.
like look under your sofa and you find $60, then I would say do it.
You're
You know what I
horrible.
mean?
You're horrible.
Spare
You just have no opinions.
I would say
Kevin, look under the
if
sofa
you're,
for a minute.
if you're interested and you're okay waiting, wait until after the first update gets pushed for Act 1.
Yeah.
They're continuing to patch stuff. We talked about their latest patch on Games Daily today. They're patching as they go. They're identifying key issues and saying, hey, listen, we're not going to wait until Act 1 to push all these fixes. We're going to try to fix stuff as much as we can. So maybe wait until Act 1 is ready to be released, and then you'll probably be able to buy it at a discount, at least $10 to $20 off, I would guess, and then you're getting it for less.
so wait and see, really.
Yeah.
They also seem like they're really listening. Like it seems like they're like,
Oh, BioWare's great
Yeah.
at fan feedback, and they've always been open about answering people's questions as much as they can be, and I applaud them for that. And they know that they've made some mistakes, and they're trying hard to fix it.
Yep.
I have-
Andy, just really quick, if you suddenly lost access, would you buy it right now to continue to play?
Yes.
Okay,
There
so
you
then
go.
you would buy it, right?
That's a fair way.
That's what I was about to say. I've had $60 worth of fun with this game, and I guarantee I will add to that value as it goes and changes and evolves.
Yeah.
But again, if you've heard everything you've heard over the last 2 Gamescasts, let alone everything you've heard on every other podcast you probably listen to or read, yeah, totally wait. There'll be a sale. There'll be a discount. There'll be a giant update that is like, hey, guess what, everybody? Fuckload of helmet day.
Andy, I need you for one more second.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I know Tim is desperately probably like, we got to move on to the next stuff. So all I will
Tim's one
say-
thing was like, I just don't want to talk about Anthem for another 45 minutes.
The conversation went there. It's all good.
For by the way, I thought that was a ton of fun. For my actual review, I told these guys, I've actually it was even before, we went in and did Gamescast last week. I've been working on a review for Anthem. It's like 25 minutes long. Like Andrea said, I wanted to give it some time, and I have been recording all the footage. So check that out. Unfortunately, you're going to have to search for Fran Mirabella on YouTube or set your notifications on Twitch because I'm going to premiere it there. But it'll be up by the time this goes out on Monday. So my point is I have so much to say in an order. I've been reviewing games for decades. I'm like, I have to do it this way if you really want my recommendation. But my recommendation is, like Greg said, know your reviewer.
Yeah.
And if you are like me and you could see through why Destiny was enjoyable, Anthem has those pieces for you. It is definitely not for everybody, though.
100%.
We've gone over the points. I feel like we've gone over them too much at this point. So you're like, yeah, it's got some broken pieces, so be careful. And I actually think the score averages are about spot on. But there's some really cool stuff. The Javs are amazing.
The Jazz. Them
Shout
Jazz.
out
dog.
to
and
the
it's got-
Jazz.
Dude, every
potential.
time I start a mission and I jump off and I go, poof, 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 and I'm off, I'm like, fuck yeah. And then I go to the water and I'm sliding across the water,
dude,
cool
it's
it
so
down.
Cool. And there's a Stronghold coming soon. And like Andrew said, there's the Cataclysm. We've never seen what that is all through May. So you might want to just wait and see how that goes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Tim.
Now I want to talk about Bungie.
Ooh,
Before
what
we
a
get
perfect
to
segue.
Destiny, Andy, I booted up my Xbox. I've been playing some games.
Yeah.
And there's just this one little icon that's just been pulling me to it. Halo Master Chief
Oh my
Collection.
God.
I haven't played since the 4K Xbox One X update came out in September. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dabble. So let's just see what's up. I booted that motherfucker up. Halo 1, Combat Evolved. Started the campaign.
Ooh.
Next thing I know, I'm at the silent cartographer.
Oh.
And
Wow.
I'm just like, it's like 4 hours later. No, not 4 hours. Maybe like 2 hours later. I'm just like, what a damn
What a
game.
good game.
And all I could think the entire time is party mode, after party. Me and you, co-op throughout the
The
whole
library,
campaign.
especially.
Yes.
Just the library. But dude, I had a blast. And my God, the 4K HDR, that makes that game look
Really?
so
Wow.
good.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
And I'm playing, it's Halo 1, Combat Evolved, and then you can do there's a toggle where you hit the button and it goes
the
between
anniversary
the
edition.
anniversary
Oh, so
version
cool. I
and then
love
the
that.
original look, but the original looks in 4K. And it's like, it just looks so empty, but like it's beautiful 4K textures of just the same drab gray.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but man, what a damn game. The feel of that game is just so special, man. I can't wait for more Halo Infinite stuff. I saw today on the news, I don't know if you guys talked about this on Games Daily, but they were talking about Halo Infinite is going to be a
rumor.
spiritual reboot.
Oh.
supposedly.
Oh, I didn't see it, yeah.
Don't know what that
I didn't
means.
see it.
Did Bonnie say
well,
that on
yeah, Bonnie's
yeah.
been making the rounds after her DICE award. Yeah.
Congrats again.
But that dude, the fucking music starts playing, and I'm just like, even switching back to the original look of it, that music just feels so modern.
Yeah.
Like they were so forward thinking and making Halo campaign feel like an experience, and like that leads into Destiny. So now we can talk about Destiny Season of the Drifter. Thank you very much. Andy.
Okay. Also, Fortnite Season 8, I played a bit of it. It's pretty cool.
Check out Andy on Twitch TV/Maximum Cortez.
Yeah,
No,
Weezer
Andy Cortez, he's
Island,
back to
man.
Weezer.
Andy
They got a
Cortez.
Weezer Island.
I bet you there's going to be a Weezer concert after
what?
Marshmallow
Fucking
blew
better
up
be.
the
Wait,
world.
Weezer? Wait, what am I
There's a
missing?
Weezer Island in Fortnite.
Oh, it's called. I didn't realize that. I went into Fortnite. Wait, we're talking Season Drifter though, right?
Destiny Season of the Drifter.
A new Vidoc came out, right? 8 to 9 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why.
That's
it's
a
the
video
topic du
documentary.
jour.
Thank you. I was like, wait, what?
I know. I hate the word Vidoc, by the way. In fact, I refused to let people for a while label it that at IGN. They would title it, but
Yeah, no one should ever. No one should ever title something Vidoc.
Right?
on
I'm
the-
with you. I actually stopped Doug Perry and others. He's like, why, man? It's a
my
Vidoc.
God.
I'm like, it's a video documentary.
That's how
Use
old
the
this
word.
term is. I thought this was before you quit. This is when you started.
Do you want me to read this summary, or do you already know everything?
How about this? I can go over it very fast and then tell me what I'm missing.
You got it.
'Cause
Perfect.
The short version is
Destiny Bros.
almost 9-minute documentary. What they've announced is there's the new Season of Drifter. It is an annual pass, but again, there's free content that comes with it. This is out, I think, a couple weeks from now.
What's the content you're paying for in the pass?
Yes, but there is free content as well, is the point.
Yes, there's both. And
There's
that's
both.
super confusing.
This is just
Yeah.
how Bungie does. They have 2 tracks, a little like the Battle Pass and the free stuff for Fortnite.
Sure.
Okay, here's what's big. If you liked Gambit, the whole PvE/PvP mode, there's now Gambit Prime, which is a new mode that is going to encourage like new class types. You can become class types with armor. I'm not going to get too much into that detail yet, but it's harder. It is more higher stakes, etc. So that's
It's
going to be
one
a new
round
mode.
versus 3,
And
and it allows invading players to not just kill their opponents, but to steal their moats, denying them progress.
There you go, exactly. It's got a moment in it where apparently when that primeval, the big boss that they spawn at you, they end it, they say raid-like elements to encourage you and your class to come together to try to take it down. So they're really trying to make a hard mode. So they've got that, and then they've got a new mode called
Reckoning.
Which is, from what I can tell, it is a sprinting horde mode. It is a horde mode, but you're sprinting forward. If you ever played the Halloween events, it looks to be a little like that, but they're like, it's crazy, it's adrenaline, it's hard, and what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to like be told with the quest to go between these two. So they're really trying to encourage that. And also really,
one of the devs compared it to parts of the Crota raid in Destiny 1.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first image I got, was running in the opening to Crota's End. And by the way, it's just a horde mode, but like it looks cool. You're going down those paths, a little like Curse of Osiris. I don't want to relate it to that, but you're going down long sort of hallways, so to speak, or wide open, but you're just horde mode. So anyway, there's that. Another big point of information is that to address the Black Armory problem, a lot of people don't even know this.
I was gonna say, what's the problem with the Black
sucked.
Armory?
It was like they had content gated behind the grind that there was so little content. They took you like 20, 40 hours. It took a very long time just to get to the content. Like a forge, by the way, where you could just get in and play one little room of enemies. And people were very upset about that, myself included. And then when you got there, it was too hard. Long story short, I'm a little worried they may be overreacting. They have a new thing called power surge bounties, which are apparently within 1 to 2 hours going to get you to level 640. I assume that we're going to get to level 650.
Which is what I desperately need.
Yeah.
Wait, explain to this.
We don't know how they work, but you're going to be able to get these power surge bounties.
Sorry. So 640 is the cap now of
currently
power
it's
or
650.
light?
Yeah, 650 is the cap.
Yeah,
is
it's 600 right now,
the true cap.
And so like, where are you at right now, stalled out?
I'm like, I've just crossed 600. I'm like
Okay.
603 or 605 or something like
what's
that.
the max right now?
Because I didn't get to play much of Black Armory because when it came out, I was still playing catch up from the previous Forsaken content. And so I was just really starting to crack the surface on the Dreaming City and doing the new raid for the first time and all of that. And so I was power leveling to 600. But then once I got there, of course, like a bunch of games came out in the fall and I had to like...
This is the problem with trying to keep up with these worlds, right?
Yeah, so I kind of had to step away, and then I never really did any of the forges, and so now I'm behind again.
Gotcha.
But
I'm Max,
It's a full-time
by the way,
job.
it
completely,
really is.
It's been a rush today. A lot of Anthem. The cap is currently 640, right? Or 650.
She said 650, and this thing will
So
bump you up to
those are
640.
there to get you to the current level. I misunderstood. And just my brain's not working today. So yeah, Andrea mentioned earlier that we think the cap is probably going to be 700. The point is, it's to get you in. You can start playing the content. For a second, I was thinking it was trying to get you farther into the end game, but they're just trying to address that. Like Andrea has to, like in the last one, she had to go back and grind all this stuff. So I don't get too much in the weeds there before I make any more clerical errors.
Well, because the problem with these releases is that they're tailored specifically to people who are daily or weekly players. And there's so many people like me who love Destiny and want to play a lot, but I just got to play other stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want to take a break from Destiny. And they keep pushing the light level max so much and making the grind so painful that it's almost impossible for people like me who are more than a casual player, but not the hardest of the hardcore player, where I'm kind of in this middle place to keep pace with the other members of my clan who get to spend more time in it. But I want to play it, like I have the pass. I want to experience this stuff, but it feels like I'm doing all this artificial grinding all the time just to see the new stuff.
Yeah, totally. I can imagine.
So it's frustrating. So I'm glad that they're doing this catch-up mechanic, the special bounties, but they did that with the attuned prime engrams of the last one. I don't know if that nomenclature is correct, but
priming.
Like I understand that, like, and I appreciate that they can't just like, auto level me up. Like they want to make sure that, they're not just giving away that grind. But at the same time, I kind of wish that they would allow you to fast track in a way that doesn't take 20 hours.
Yeah, what it's about is the content that you grind for has got to be worth it. So I think it's
Right.
maybe a different argument if it's a new raid, getting to max level. Sure, you don't want that to take 2 hours, but these are like some new PvP, PvE / modes, So it's like to make you wait forever. And the last example again was to play like a forge mode to grind out some they're cool weapons, but it's not like something to write home about, like a raid. That's what they got to be careful of. So I think they're like, no, just catch up. Everyone's had their time to get to 640. Now we're giving it away. And I actually think maybe...
That's a super smart move.
Not a bad idea. And maybe the way that these work, because we don't know how they work, is challenging enough that you're like, all right, they kind of put you through the ringer. But I guess we'll see. What else did we miss, though, in terms of what's coming?
Thorn?
We talked Reckoning. Oh, Thorn is coming back. We knew that at the end of the teaser trailer. And now they're like, absolutely, like Last Word was a quest in the last season. Thorn is coming back. So
Tim, what are your thoughts on Thorn coming back?
Thorn, I mean, I was worried he wasn't going to make
Sure,
it.
sure.
I thought he wasn't going to get
He
invited
wasn't
this time.
gonna make
I'm
it.
glad it paid off.
It's a gun from Destiny 1.
Ah, we were close.
I know, yeah. In Destiny 1, Thorn
See,
and
this
Last
is
Word.
how I knew that I never was going to fit in the Destiny community. When everybody had memorized all the names for the guns, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, talk
have
to you
There's
guys
some
later.
really good ones.
lore
Yeah.
that is intertwined. So it's
There's-
actually super exciting. Thorn was the bane of the existence in
I
PvP
still
for
hate
a while.
Thorn. I'm just not a hand cannon person.
So, well, yeah, I love hand cannons. So
And then in Jason's write-up on Kotaku, it says there will be a quest called Allegiance that lets you pick a side, the Vanguard or the Drifter, and advance your version of Destiny 2's story accordingly. We're also going to get invitations of the Nine, bounties that offer an exploration of the Nine in their mysterious place in the universe. Of course, the Nine, Xur, the agent of the Nine, who's his creepy noodle face in different parts of the world of Destiny. He's got his exotics that he sells. And the
exotic
first
vendor.
one, it says will show up on March 15th.
yeah. The two last really cool notes to make were I'm glad to have seen Luke Smith in it. They barely slipped him in there at the end, and they actually had Season of Redacted, if you remember, Andrea. You probably didn't even see this because I know you've been busy today. And he just throws out, he's like, we're really excited about the future of Destiny, and there's a couple notes there. But he said Season of Opulence. And they showed some Leviathan looking like, the whole whatever you would call Leviathan. A lot of the gold and the temples, and so it looks like that's the next season. They didn't really announce much, but I think they show a couple frames of it. So I was excited to see they're kind of peeling back the layers a little bit to show you what's coming.
And the Leviathan shader was my favorite. So if it's all purple, white, and gold, we're
It
good.
is. That's what it looks
That's
like.
why I knew it. I ran around in that for a long
Yeah.
time.
So I'm excited that they commented on that. They also made sure in the video documentary to call attention to the fact that they're not going to be with Activision, or they're not now, but they're finishing up this stuff. But they really, you got to read between the lines here. They've made it pretty clear to me, I think, that they're moving towards a quick, what do they say? A quick, reactive, live game in the future. Now, we don't know what that means, but they say it. Listen closely. And they're obviously thinking forward past this stuff.
Yeah, less bullshit from Activision, right? Less
Sounds like
things to
more
run
of
up
a-
the flagpole.
More of a Warframe type of
Yeah, and I
distribution
think
model.
you're seeing it today with the annual pass. They're just getting into it, but it's like, here, you're going to get a new mode this, and new mode that, and I think that's where a lot of these games are going, and that's what Anthem's suffering from as well. So I was just excited that they made to point that out. So
Jim Sterling tweeted something today that I thought was really interesting based on this conversation here even. But VG247 said, or put up a story that says a single player only game like the original Uncharted, quote, wouldn't be a viable pitch today, says Amy Hennig. And there's this whole interview
said
with
that.
all that stuff. Did you guys talk about that?
One of the questions on Games Daily today wasn't that quote. It was her quote that games as services don't play nice with narrative for the most part.
Which is true.
And it's totally true, and they are two very separate things. But Jim Sterling says, sadly, she's not wrong. We're in a generation where content is paramount regardless of substance. Video games can't simply be video games for most major publishers. They want content, not context. They want lore, not story. They want you hooked, not entertained.
I think Spider-Man sales disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was a single-player story
Single-player games
that
are dead, I
sold millions of copies.
Right,
God of War sold millions millions of copies.
And to take to take your detractors out of the knees, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a single player game that's
To continue this, to be fair,
Fuck you, Tim.
Spider-Man / God of War are excellent and prove that story still has an important place in AAA spaces, but they're also massive, which is the trade-off being talked about. If your story has only 8 hours in it, you'll have a hard time getting a major publisher.
Oh yeah, Resident Evil 2
I was just
remake.
about to say Resident
Get
Evil 2.
out of here.
I mean, it's true
Should
though. There's
be.
not that many of these things when you compare it
The
to
fact that we can sit here and name what you feel like on one hand does make a point.
No,
My
we
thing
can-
is
we
though,
can
what
keep going,
what
though.
I think is interesting about this is I think that they are two very different genres. But when we bring up lore so much, and I do feel like it's unfortunate that lore seems like a replacement for story. Like lore feels like this, and it's almost like the excuse of like, yeah, but there's a lot of lore. It's like, okay, but like if there's not a story there that matters,
Yeah,
what does
I'm
that
there
shit
for
mean?
we need to use different words. Like, I'm not a lore guy. I really appreciate, like I said, I'm there for the performance, the cinema, the story, whatever that may be. I'm there because in Uncharted, the performance is amazing. And the cutscenes and the camera direction. And like that, for me, when we talk about single player campaigns with a story, that's what I'm thinking about. Is like, how's the camera and the music all come together? Nobody's ever like really even talked about how, I don't want to go back to Anthem, but the music is incredible. It's so cool. The sound effects are so cool. We're
Destiny's the
It's all
same
about
way.
that didgeridoo, man.
We are exactly.
There's a lot of didgeridoo actually. I looked at the camera and shrugged because I'm like, I don't really remember the music. I do remember a lot of didgeridoo.
We're moving past that.
That's hilarious.
We're going to
But I do-
Outback Steakhouse. Everybody get in the car.
But we were seeing a huge paradigm shift of episodic content. Actually, interestingly, I think Resident Evil's kind of like dabbling and showing you that games maybe don't need to be 40. Will you pay for these installments? And obviously, there's the other side, which is like, it's free. Just go play it. So
absolutely.
there's a lot happening right now, and it's all culminating in maybe cloud services. So it's exciting future, man. But games are always changing.
Sure, but it's cool.
That
It's so
doesn't
cool
mean-
when it works, right? Like that's the thing. I, as somebody on the outside of it, and like who similar to you, oh, not actually, because I'm not in the same boat. But with Destiny 2, like I look at you guys, and oh man, the backstory to Xur and all this shit, and I'm just like, man, that's cool. I always say I
Whole
want to
noodle
exist in that
face.
world. That's why I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Of like, hey, here's a game I'm spending 100+ hours in. Monster Hunter World. Here's a game I'm spending 100+ hours in. I guess World was just fun to play. I don't know the lore of the world.
No, Monster Hunter is a very good example versus story versus lore.
Right.
Monster Hunter has a lot of lore,
Yeah.
whereas Assassin's Creed has a lot of story.
Right. And that's why I'm juiced for the Division 2, and I hope it all clicks because I want to just get lost in that world. Honestly, in a perfect world, I hope that game comes out. I love it so much. I want to come back to it every day, do something in it, and take me all the way. And this is not going to happen because our lives are fucking crazy, but all the way from March 15th to Days Gone in April 26th, right?
Yep.
Like that's another world I want to get lost in. But I would love it if the Division is that good and clicks with me that much. I know Washington D.C. and I want to run around and do this kind of thing.
So
Oh, we can talk about it next week,
With
Greg.
this and with
Days
with
Gone.
the
Yeah,
Jim Sterling
without that
quote,
part, I mean, from pre-E3.
So you are, I think, the most important person here to answer this question because you are such the Bioware person.
I guess fuck us, Fran.
And this games as a service person. So you have a lot of experience on both sides. Like what he's saying is that pretty much like these publishers like are kind of requiring that these games become games as a service. Do you think Anthem would have been better served as a BioWare game, a traditional BioWare game that was focused on story and not on lore?
Yes. I think Anthem would have been an amazing spiritual successor to Mass Effect in the sense that there's so many things that ring Mass Effect to me in the world of Anthem, and I can imagine playing through that game solo 100% all the time and having it be an Assassin's Creed Odyssey type game where the open world has all these different side quests and all these things I can do on my own. Like, I don't need it to be co-op.
Yeah.
I could easily, I could get rid of strongholds. I could just have tough boss fights that I would play by myself, or it would be Mass Effect style where you have comrades on your team that are your teammates but that aren't controlled by another player. Or you could even go Dragon Age Inquisition style where you can kind of take control of your teammates, but I don't need to be co-op with my friends. The co-op is fun, but it didn't need to be live service. It didn't need to be always online, and it didn't need to be multiplayer.
She crushes it. I mean, as somebody who's playing in the N7 armor, running around doing stuff, I'm having these conversations. I made a female face that I've never seen again.
Yeah,
What was even the point? I've made it this
Yeah,
way. All right,
exactly.
cool. I did it, and I picked this female voice, and There's times when I'm playing, I'm like, oh, this is such a great conversation. And it feels so much like Mass Effect, where I'm Commander Shep running around talking to people in the Citadel. Then, hey, we need you to go out and do this mission. Okay, you jump in, and there's no explanation for why you're running with 3 other freelancers. Like, you know what I mean? As I'm like listening to the dialogue,
they're only talking to you.
And then the cutscene's just you, and it's just like, why is this a multiplayer game?
The only point I'd make there is I understand what you're saying. I think the game would have been better from the makers of Mass Effect to keep to that, because that is how they make their recipes, and you're seeing that. And frankly, I just think you want another Mass Effect, by the way. If you're gonna go out and make Anthem, I think that they did the right thing. They're sitting at the table, they're taking the risk.
Oh.
You gotta break a few eggs. I'm not saying that you're maybe disagreeing they should have tried, but that's why I think it's the right move. And yeah, they broke some eggs, and I'm glad they're sitting at the table, because I am addicted to games as a service. Now, I want the same thing you want. I want that, like, I just want to, like, off stream, play Mass Effect, or maybe an Anthem. But truly, I think Anthem works well, maybe, in this world.
Oh, yeah,
so, I mean, I'm glad it is what it is. I wouldn't have wanted that other side of it, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't want to get like pulled back into an Anthem discussion. We've already talked about it at length in the show, but to
dare you.
put a pin in to answer your question.
We gotta make that
I
shift.
think that there's so much potential for Anthem to be a fantastic multiplayer games as service. They're just not there yet. They're like going through their growing pains, much like Bungie did with Destiny when they first launched it, much like Massive did with The Division when they first launched it. I think they're gonna get there. It's just gonna take them a little time.
I agree. I think whatever. Not this next wave of content they've already shown, but like similar to what we're talking about, the next wave of content to make sure you actually feel like a team.
Yeah.
And here's why these people are here, and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always takes 6 to 12 months at least, is what I think those
Like
games
making
are
a baby,
shows.
they say,
Just like making a baby.
It's gonna take 9
Before
months. I
we
love
talk
that.
more about that, ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can join the classes and communities that are just right for you. Right now, we're in the process of retooling a couple of the intros for Kind of Funny videos for Kind of Funny and for Kind of Funny games. So Nick is looking into a couple Premiere tutorials on the video editing side using Skillshare. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving. Skillshare is also super affordable on online subscriptions, less than $10 a month. You can join more than 7 million creators learning with Skillshare. The first 500 of you guys to use the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial. The first 500 people to sign up will receive a 2-month free trial. Just go to skl.sh/kindafunnycorepodcast to start your trial now. That's skl.sh/kindafunnycorepodcast. And next up, shout out to Upstart. Applying for a loan is a lot like applying for a job that you don't get to interview for. Instead, loan companies make their decisions based off your credit score and history without getting to know the whole you. Now, thanks to Upstart.com, it never has to be that way again. Upstart's revolutionizing the way that you borrow money by rewarding you for your job experience and education in the form of a smaller interest rate. This is going to totally help out Kind of Funny if we were going down that route back in the day when we were first launching it. If you're starting a company yourself or anything, this might be something you want to look into. Unlike traditional credit underwriting, which could be biased against people with a short credit history, Upstart goes beyond the traditional stuff when assessing your credit worthiness. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in less than 2 minutes without affecting your credit score. That's huge. The best part, once your loan is approved, the funds will be transferred to you the very next business day. Over 100,000 people have used Upstart's pay off credit cards, student loans, fund their wedding, or to make a large purchase. Man, I might need to look into this after last week. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in the category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/kindafunny to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes 2 minutes and won't affect your credit. That's upstart.com/kindafunny. Go to upstart.com/kindafunny and find out how long your Upstart rate is. I hear a song in the other room. It's making me excited. Low. I made the text really small on this. My bad.
All right, cool.
Good job.
There you go. Ape Out, Greg.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lot of talk on this thing. A lot of wishy-washy fuckers on the mic over here saying, oh, man, well, I mean, if you find $60 under the couch, no, I like it. What are you talking about, Andy? It doesn't make any sense. Here's the thing.
I fucking got
Objectively, buy Ape Out. Ape Out is a great game for everyone who likes video games. Ape Out is, like, so if you're not familiar with Ape Out, you've missed me yelling at Devolver Digital on Twitter about it for years. Saw it at PAX a long time ago. The idea is that it's top-down and think Hotline Miami, but you're an ape. It's got a really unique, simplistic art style. You smash through things as an ape. There's people out there with guns. You smash them against the wall, and you're trying to get to the exit. When you die, it'll zoom out and say dead, but it'll show you how far you got through the level. Levels are procedurally generated.
I didn't know that.
Soundtrack. I didn't know this either till I read a review today. I was like, oh, interesting. I never paid attention to that. The game is the soundtrack to it is jazz. So it's jazz based on what you're doing. So like the soundtrack is like frenetic. It's there with you doing all this different stuff.
Interactive.
It sounds awesome.
Did you see the video of the live jazz band, like for the launch party?
Oh,
there was
no.
a live jazz band, someone playing, and they live would do
my
that.
God,
That is
dude.
awesome.
Freaking cool
I
as
want
hell.
to see it.
Like it's I think phenomenal. I think it's such a great indie game. It's $15. It's on PC. It's on Switch. It's got this jazz idea to it. So basically, there are 4 albums to play as the story with an epilogue, and then like you jump in. There's an A side and a B side that are a number of levels.
Awesome. I didn't realize that.
Similar to how you want to think like similar, but not the exact same. To how you'd go play Celeste and you'd see one screen and then your challenge is to get through the screen to get to the next one. Same rough idea here that you're playing through one map that'll stitch to another map. Usually I think it's 4, so you do 4 and that's like a level. You go to the next one that way. So 4 sections make up a level that you're going through. But if you clear one, you have to get through all 4 of them or whatever.
Complete that level.
Well, and I guess I'm talking about stuff very late. There's a long level to play through, then you get through like with this thing.
So question
Jump
for
in
you.
for me.
I've been looking at some gameplay. And unfortunately, with the sound off, I watched the launch trailer though. Didn't see gameplay. It was just all like cool, fancy cinematic cuts.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot of the art, but they're not like showing like how you actually like play the game.
Oh, okay. So they're not explaining stuff. I
no,
gotcha,
it's
okay.
like a fancy launch
Sure,
trailer,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is cool. Not right now.
Wait,
but
no,
I mean,
no.
yeah,
Bring it up.
Bring
I
it
got
over
an idea.
here.
Maybe. Because I got an idea.
So
Finish.
I would say to you like. I watched some gameplay
Yeah.
and like the art style looks cool.
Yep.
But the top down like view, which reminded me instantly of like a Hotline Miami, which
Yep.
I get that the gameplay is different.
Kev, do you want to bring
Like,
up a trailer?
What's the pitch here other than the music's cool?
How about this?
Oh, the gameplay's fun. It's challenging.
Real fast. Why I describe, I just bought it today. Just press restart level while I'm talking for a second.
Sure.
And I was just going to say, one, Greg, this is a great example where you brought this up. And by the way, you should disclose, does Jen do PR on this, you said? Or
No.
No, he doesn't. That was a different game. Okay.
So I mean,
never
yeah,
mind.
this is a Devolver Digital game. Jen, once in a while,
Does it?
works on other. If you don't know Papa Agenda's structure, it's kind of confusing. She does not work for Devolver.
Okay.
She did not work
So it
on Ape
doesn't
Out. It's
matter.
nothing like that. Yeah, no. Thanks
I'm
for
getting-
trying to
I'm
fucking
getting
sink
shot.
me, you
What?
coward.
No, but you've brought it up a lot,
dead.
which is good.
I'm dead.
Yeah, there's a left trigger, right trigger. But, so I started, Greg,
It's a
thank you
twin
for-
stick shooter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're using your shoulder buttons. You have either you smash people,
Grab someone on the left.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
you punch them forward with the
Yeah,
right.
so you can grab people and then
And
turn them
stuff.
and they'll shoot for you. So you
So-
have that. You can grab items like you saw the big brick wall, throw that at people, or the big metal thing.
This is what I wanted to say was when I watched trailers and you talked about, I was like, yeah, it looks so like simple and like I've played so many
Sure.
arcade games. I'm like, I don't know, I get it. I didn't play it
Yeah.
this morning because going on the shop, I'm like, I
Oh,
bet
the
I'm gonna make sure.
triggers. Okay.
I'm gonna
My
make sure to
apologies.
do this. And so they start you off in this little glass, cage.
Most levels start, yeah,
and
or
like you
story
don't know
levels,
quite how to play,
albums.
and yeah, it's going whatever
Yeah.
the music's getting started, and you like boosh, break out. As soon as you break out, you're like, okay, and
You
there's this
ape out,
guy
Fran.
standing there, and then you like slam him into the wall.
And just blood, yeah.
Here's the special part about this game.
Sure.
Is yeah, you can look at it and be like, I get it, I'm busy, I'm moving
Yeah.
on. When I slam that dude into the wall and it's
Yeah.
like splat, I was like, that felt good, and the music
Yeah.
cue. And then I started giggling. I was like, oh my God. I
Dude.
was like, I totally had that first reaction of like, this is really like, it's just fun.
I've played it, or I watched it at PAX
Feels-
originally, right? And then playing it last night on the TV, Jen made a bunch of videos that we only posted one today where I'm just like, oh, this motherfucker's gonna die. It's one of those, it's rare that I play a game, no offense, like Tim, where I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck God.
Yeah.
Or I'm actually,
No offense.
I'm emoting and talking out loud. And this is one of them because it is that fast feeling of Hotline Miami. It is that I know I need to get through here, and all I got to do is get through the green door on the other side, which sounds simple,
Yeah.
but the levels are huge. You need to go. You need to learn sight lines, and it's that thing they keep escalating it, right? Where at first it's just dudes with guns, right? And you have a second before they do anything. Great. Then it's a dude in a piece of body armor. Okay, so he can't he gets multiple shot or one shot to kill him. Then eventually SWAT's swinging in through the windows and breaking in and doing this. There's dudes that just run away from you and then shoot from afar. So you have to start observing the map, using corners. It does a really great job of perspective where, cool, if I run and I see you, awesome, and I can run back and go into a corner or around a wall to try to get you to come to me. But if I lose my sight line on you, you don't have it on me and I don't have it on you. So you disappear and I have to kind of time it to grab you and throw you. And like there's different
there is like
strategies.
Strategy.
And it is that thing of like I said, 4 albums, the epilogue in it, but you can go through it pretty quick. I think the IGN guy was talking about, a couple afternoons I beat it. It is one of those high score speed runs. Can we go back? There's an arcade mode that I haven't touched. Yeah, exactly.
I can't find the
I
video I
almost
was talking
made it.
about of the live band,
See?
but it does exist. I promise you.
So you
Okay.
should get first impressions. Kevin, you can come take this back if you want.
Okay, I got it.
What do you think?
I obviously need to play it with the music because clearly as you're describing it, the music has
That's a good point.
a lot of impact in
Yeah.
the gameplay, but it seems pretty simple mechanics wise once you get the hang of it.
Easy to
not
learn
necessarily
and
so.
difficult to master, I think, is
Yeah.
the thing of like where it is like, this is easy. And then getting into the later stuff where it's like, I'm going to stop right now because it's
can't
totally
wait
that
to
thing
play
of I can't, you know how it is. At 9 o'clock at night, like
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. 9 in the morning, you beat it like first try, right? That's
Yeah.
one of those kind of games.
I love that.
I do
that's a
too.
Tim
I love
game
it.
for
I think
sure,
it's
man.
super awesome, and I'm totally into it. And again, objectively, not even subjectively, I'm like, dude, like a Greg game. Like I think that's a great arcade indie for Switch or PC.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome Switch edition. And I was going to say, it really brought me back to that idea of being at an arcade or a pizza parlor or
Yeah.
whatever. You're like, I want to go just like play this game. I would love to play it in that setting. So it has that feel. It's not that it hasn't been done before.
Oh, no. And it's got that super quick death
Yeah.
of like, you go through and you'll
Restart.
notice when you watch videos or Let's Plays, you start off, obviously, just as an ape, then you'll start bleeding your own blood, and it'll start in little drips, then it'll get bigger, showing you're about to die, and based on how many hits you take. So it does become that thing of like, fuck, like where I'm, when I was doing the floors, and it was like 4 floors to get to the next level, it was like, fuck, I'm heavily bleeding at level 2, so now I gotta play way more defensively, secretively, let's try to get around things and get out. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't
It's
recommend
fun,
it enough.
And
It's
it's
super
not
cool.
a $60. It was $15. I think
15
on
bucks,
Steam.
yeah.
So I think it's a great recommendation. I wasn't sold at first either, but I think for that price and like playing it on a plane for literally 3 minutes, you get something out of it. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really nice.
Hell yeah. Fortnite Season 8, Fran. You wanted to talk a little bit about it.
We got
My
the
God,
pirates.
it came out of nowhere because I've been playing, all these other games. But it launched today as of recording the show on Thursday. So the big thing with it is a volcano, pirate base. They've got like apparently Weezer Island, and they've got a pirate ship, and there's a giant volcano. You get the idea. The big thing. And so I don't know every other detail about it, but they have evolved Fortnite's gameplay a little bit. But the big thing is they added ping. And I wanted to ask you guys about this.
What does that mean? I
So
saw
in
this
Apex-
earlier.
Apex ping.
You press a button to
Yeah.
ping a location or grab this weapon. It's over here. It was a really
So how do I use it in Fortnite?
You hit on, it's the same idea, right?
I
Where
Same
it's
played
idea.
Apex.
So here's the two differences. In Apex, you have a ping wheel, and you can ping a bunch of different ways. Enemy here, looting here. There might be somebody here. I'm just looking, whatever. There's a ton, which is really ingenious. We've talked about it. It honestly is this huge advancement in shooters like that. It's the same stuff that we've seen folks like Nintendo do, like the Z-Lock of yore. They're like, oh my God, a Z-Lock. It makes so much sense. Ping, when Apex, we're like, why don't all games that are like this have it? Well, Fortnite agreed. And they're like, yeah, we're going to add that. So they didn't add it to a depth that I've seen. You literally just point to stuff and it's like here, here, here. But they did add it. So what do you think of that? Like, is it okay? Just be like, they totally aped
It's what
it.
Fortnite did, right?
Yeah,
They looked at
that's-
PUBG.
Hey man, we like PUBG a lot, so we're gonna make our own
Exactly.
PUBG.
So,
Hey
one,
Alfonso Ribeiro, we like your dance. We're taking that too.
I'd ask 2 questions. 1, do you think it's needed? And 2, what do you think of this? It's like, is it okay?
I think it's
think so.
good. Yeah,
I
if
think
people
yes
like
on
it,
both.
go for it. And I think that's just game making, right? Of like open worlds
Yeah,
becoming everything, right?
Apex
And
might have
the
got
first
a few
time
ideas.
GTA traced like, oh, you want to go there? Track the location, and it showed you the way, and everybody does that now.
Imagine you saw someone put ketchup on French fries for the first
Or
time,
dip them in a milkshake.
or dip. Yes, thank you, Fran.
See, that's what you were going
Dude, it's literally my most
tweeted
popular
about it.
tweet of all time. I had no idea there were so many people that were on my side, and so many people who think that I'm a monster.
Well, your side is it's cool, right?
Oh yeah, fries in the milkshake is
Let's go, baby.
delicious.
McDonald's
I dip your
milkshake
french
with
But
some fries?
imagine you see somebody do this for the first time. You're like, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
I want to try that. but then you don't because you're like, oh, but they did that thing and I shouldn't have that cool thing too. Like, come on.
I think the biggest thing for a video game mechanic, right, is the idea that as long as it isn't Epic beating their chest, being like, guess what, everybody, we invented this.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean,
they're
or
not.
like not giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
Even when
fine
they
with me, too.
stole
It's
the
like-
entire PUBG concept, like, hey, we like PUBG.
Apex Legends didn't invent that, right?
It's not an invention by them. It's just that in
They've
this
improved
genre,
upon it, yeah.
Well, no, but in this genre, it's not that you can
Fans of the
point
genre.
with markers and stuff in Fortnite and all that. But there was nothing like the ping system in Apex in these games. Not to my remembrance.
Not in
but-
current
Battle Royale.
not
I'm talking
current
about
Battle Royale. I'm just talking about in games as a whole, like
No,
the ping
stuff like
system
this
has
exists,
existed.
Sure, but anyway, they do it so elegantly, and honestly, it is one of the strengths of Apex. But they quickly added it into Fortnite. It's literally, you could tell it was end of life cycle, and it's just like a dot that you put on. By the way, it has none of the advanced stuff going on.
That'll be
All
season
the
9.
voice-
I'm
That'll be
sure it will,
season 9.
yeah.
Dude, all the
Or not even, they'll do
voiceover
it
that
for
comes
them.
with Apex is incredible. But actually, I'd say hats off to them. And I think my point was, I think people are going to overreact because, yeah, Fortnite, by the way, looked at PUBG and everyone is just taking ideas from each other. But by the way, it's inspiration. And as long as your game ultimately is unique at the core, like these little things, like it's going to happen. So I'm actually really glad they added it. Please make it more like Apex. I want to be able to ping more specifically. Yeah. And otherwise, I've barely played Season 8. I hopped in as well today really fast. I like the new map design. It's nice to get out of the snow. And I like the kind of like pirate feel. And it's kind of like a theme park feel now. And that is one thing that Fortnite, I think, really has going for it. Still a lot of fun to play. And it's like goofy, right? It's not what Apex and PUBG are. And so it still has a lot of those strengths.
Are you going to get back into Season 8 at all?
We talked about it today on
When?
Games Daily, and I was like, fuck no, I got Apex, I got Division beta, Division's coming up, Division, Ape Out. And then in the middle of it, somebody sent me the Jeff Keighley tweet of like, hey, there's a Weezer Island. I'm like, motherfucker, playing Fortnite tonight.
Yeah. That
Somebody
makes a lot
needs
of
to
sense.
do, is it Island in the Sun? Yeah, the Green Album.
When you're on a holiday, you can't find.
I'm going to
the
skip Division because I know we're going to be
words
talking a lot about that in the
Sure.
coming weeks. So I'm going to go.
If you want to hear all about my trip to Washington, D.C., my chat with Julian, the creative director, with Chad, the lead environment artist, and Chloe, the IP researcher, we're going to have those interviews up on What's Good Games, and we dive into it at length on the episode of What's Good Games that is out on Friday, March 1st.
Is that
There
just what's
you
goodgames.com or?
Yeah, well, I mean, podcast services. If you're listening to the
Around the globe.
Gamescast on YouTube, youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. If you're listening it on your iPhone or your Android phone, you can find it wherever you find podcasts.
I love a good plug.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Fran.
Greg, would you rather talk right now about Wattam or Outer Wilds?
Oh,
How is Wattam any different than it was like 2 years ago?
I had missed Wattam altogether, so let's do Wattam.
even know.
Okay.
Yeah, because Outer Wilds is the same thing basically from Judges Week. Like, oh, I'm fine. This wooden thing up in space, neat. I don't know if this is a game for me. Cool.
Yeah, I can lift off and then clumsily touch down with my weird spaceship.
So Wattam, how much did you know about Wattam
I
before
don't even know
anything?
what
What
I
is
mean-
what is Wattam?
Kevin, I sent you a video. I think it's best to
this is
explain.
the most difficult question to answer,
Can you spell it,
Tim.
please? for those-
Wattam,
that's what I
Wattam.
thought.
So this is a phenomena
Nailed it.
game, right? It was originally financed by
It was a
PlayStation.
phenomenon game?
Yes,
Okay.
Robin.
phenomena.
Dun, dun, dun,
Phenomena.
Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Oh, Phenomenon.
Robin Honeyke. Remember when she came in?
Phenomena.
She runs a
Phenomena.
place called Phenomena.
yes.
And so this
Okay.
game was originally financed by
Show it, Kev.
PlayStation because it was supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive, and then PlayStation said, you know what? Development on this game is taking a little too long, and so they kind of dumped them from the roster.
Right, this is the whole thing, and I don't know. This would have been probably at Santa Monica, right? And then it got
Yes.
dumped out, and then can you turn it down,
I
Kev?
first saw this at Judges Week, I think 2014.
I had totally missed it. I
Kevin,
did not
Frank
know
gameplay.
about what Wattam,
Can you do something
Wattam.
about
What
it?
time?
No.
And so I went to
Tried.
see a bunch of Annapurna games. Outer Wilds is one of them. One I'm embargoed on, and I'll talk about next week. And then I got took to another room to see this one. And I sat down, and they started it, and it was about 4 seconds of watching it where I was like, "How many people on this team worked on Noby Boy?" And I was like, "Oh, well, this is the guy who
Kevin,
made Noby
Fran
Boy." I
was
was
asking
like,
for some gameplay.
"Hey, how are you?
I'm
Good to
looking
see you."
at it.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea behind it is, if you remember Noby Boy, this super weird fucking PS3 game. Let's go to Mars or whatever the fuck it was. Like, let's go to this, and it was weird and fucking kooky. Exact same thing here. The demo opens and it's like a children's drawing of like a house, like literally a crayon drawing of a house or whatever. And it's like, hey, there used to be a world. It all got destroyed. The only person alive is the mayor, who, if you're Kevin, you want to throw it up, is this big green cube with a black hat on, right?
And they have all got these cute little dot faces.
And he's super lonely. It's this giant green cube he's on, right? So eventually there's this big stone, and then this little stone pops off. We go from being on a green cube, just being a green cube mayor, to trying to build as high as this other thing, and there's a giant toilet, and there's all these poops running around, and yeah, we're trying to convince a balloon to take us to the sun to get the telephone receiver to put back on the telephone. All of these have faces and dialogue, and they're all we've grown plants that we've then escalated into things, and it's
What do you do in the game though?
It's did you ever play Nobi Boy?
Not really. I remember being excited.
This is also in the gentleman, the developer on this, whose name I will butcher, but I did pull up. Of course, is the original Katamari guy, director, right? So Kenta Takahashi.
Keita Takahashi,
right? It's one of those super weird, goofy games where it's just an experiential thing. There's at one point, as Kevin's showing, this flowers running around. They'll plant some other. This grows into this giant tree at one point, and there's a chestnut on top of it. So you have to climb up the tree. You get the chestnut. It runs down. It plants itself. Then you have to hold hands with everyone and dance around it in a circle. Then a friendship dance. And it's just
kind of
like
an adventure though. Like, does it have platforming elements, or is it?
It's got climbing elements.
There's a lot of elements.
You're switching off on who you are. You can play co-op. It's got poops.
Poops.
It's like, okay, these are all plants, and like, you know, the stone becomes the pebble, and then like where the seed becomes the plant, and the plant becomes this, and then all of a sudden, like, all right, here's a nose. You're like, wait, what? And the nose breathes in the flowers, and it gives off something else. It's like, well, that's weird. And then a mouth comes, and then it needs to eat the things that have been grown from the plants, and then that starts making the shit, and then the toilet comes in, and you got to put the shit into the toilet.
You wonder why PlayStation was like, you know what?
We good.
Again, I've said it before. The day of the PlayStation 3 PlayStation, I was like, give me your weird, wacky shit. Done.
Does it got poop?
And that was all and that's why everybody left Sony Santa Monica from the ex-dev team, and it was like, well, let's go to Annapurna, and we'll make all the weird poop games you want.
That is fantastic.
But it was that thing where it was like, Nobi Boy.
Do we have a release date yet?
2019, I think is all they're saying.
This is wild that this game is still in development.
There's like when I Googled it, there's like a 3-year-old trailer,
it's not like they're
right?
doing crazy lighting effects or graphic design.
It was the thing that, though, for Nobi Boy being the snake and eating all the shit, that never really worked for me. And this one was like, I started like, I get what you're doing, and then the goofier and weirder it got, I was like, fuck, I might want to play a little bit of this. I might want to do this. I might want to. Who knows?
I have no doubt when this game finally comes out, it's going to be like quirky and weird and cute. And it's going to have a cult following, and people are going to love it. But I just keep being confused about how this game has been in development for so many years, and people have been funding the development for so many years. And I'm like, what is this game, and why is it taking so long? Like, I'm just
been
so confused.
And so therefore, it like ends up their vision's too big, so it takes forever.
Listen, like,
I'm not excusing it. It's just
no. PlayStation throws a crap ton of money at weird art projects all the time. Just look at their first party Worldwide Studios lineup. You know,
like No Man's Sky.
Like,
how that turned out.
You shut your face.
Last Guardian.
It turned out great, but I just mean, remember they backed out of No Man's Sky as well, but that was a different story.
and
Or no, it was the opposite. Wait, was it the opposite?
No, they doubled down.
They doubled down. But eventually
Microsoft was funding it. I had that backwards.
I
right?
appreciate that
Wasn't it?
Annapurna
No,
takes
shut up. You're
risks on
fucking
some
me
of
up.
these
Stop it.
creative things, like Outer Wilds, like this, like several of the other games, like Florence.
Next
like
week I'll talk
from
about their
last
other
year.
game, and that'll be an interesting conversation.
But I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand the game at all.
Well, it's about
I'm not
having fun
condemning
and
it,
having
though.
friends and making friends,
And
everybody, and pooping, and then
breathing in those
then you
flowers
take
and-
control of the cute poops and you pile them up.
You breathe them in with your nose?
I didn't get to that
Ladies
part.
and
Maybe.
gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, you can find Andrea at Andrea Renee on Twitter. You can find Fran, twitch.tv/FM3_.
And I also want to say thank you to everybody who used the Epic Store on PC.
Yes.
Creator code Fran Mirabella. There's been a lot of best friends that checked out Metro, Division, any game on there, creator code Fran Mirabella. But seriously, it's been a huge help, and thank you.
Very much.
You can find me on Instagram at Game Over Greggy.
Yeah, you can find me
Verified?
in the post show. We'll
off.
see you guys there. Bye.